Hello, guys. How's everyone doing?
Hello, Josh. I think many parents are logging in right now, so maybe we could wait 2 or 3 minutes. Hello, Philip.
Hello.
Hi, Nancy's mom. Wait a minute. Some parents are still logging in.
How's everyone's day?
Shall we get started?
Huh?
Shall we get started?
It seems that there's some internet issues with Josh. Should we start?
Oh, Josh is not here. I saw
Yeah.
him.
So yeah. What happened was I think he sent a text saying that there is some sort of internet issue.
Okay, let's I think let's wait for him
Okay.
for several minutes. Let's see. Yeah, the parents are still logging.
Sure. So Josh is still not here. So should we get started?
Yes.
I think. Okay.
Hello, guys. Sorry about that. I had some technical issues.
No problem. Let me, Josh, do you want to share your screen?
Sure. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I just came back online.
A lot of people are using the internet on Saturday.
Yeah, I know. I just got knocked off.
Yeah. Nice to see you. It's back
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I know. It's like at 1:59, it just completely disconnected. Like my whole
Yes.
house split up.
Yeah, it happens. I know. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Yeah. Thank you for your patience, parents.
Yeah, thank you, guys. All right, here. I'm gonna share my screen and we can get started. So let's pull it up. Okay. And awesome. Okay, so now we should be able to see everything. Let me close some stuff out. Okay, so here we're going to start with the presentation. So I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about our company. So me and Philip are both founders of Math Trek, and we have been teaching since 2017. But before 2017, me and Philip, we taught chess classes for about 5 years each. So that's where we met, and we founded the company in 2017. And we taught math and chess to after-school learning centers such as Genius Kids, some Challenger schools, like pretty much all throughout the Bay Area. We have been teaching math and chess mostly. Now we do teach Python and Scratch. We do have and some creative writing. This is a little bit about our background. So Philip went to UCLA for a degree in math, and I went to San Jose State for a degree in communications. And before the whole math thing, I was also a mediator for the county of Santa Clara. So we wanted to do a lot of get kids ready for a lot of math competitions from at the start, and over time we kind of focused on a lot of fundamental aspects of math. So this is us actually in the Tri-City Voice. If you guys look us up, we can actually share this with you guys. We were on Tri-City Voice on October 23rd. Some of our students, they competed in the Noetic math competition, and they got national honor roll in the entire competition. So, and there's me and Philip, a very nice picture of us. And these are the kids that won the national competition. So let's continue. So Philip was actually on a podcast called The Thoughtful Entrepreneur. And there he talks a little bit about starting, like what it's like to start your own business. Philip, do you have anything you want to talk about this?
No, definitely. Again, a lot of the slides that you will have, we will share the slide with you.
Yeah.
And in the slides, there's a hyperlink, and you can click on the hyperlink and go to the source of that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Okay, so let's continue. So this is Philip, and yeah, this is his background. Like I said, he went to UCLA for mathematics, and he taught all throughout the Bay Area. And this is me, and I went to San Jose State, and I've been working with kids. I actually used to be an assistant teacher at Montessori, where I worked with a lot of younger students, and that's pretty much where I got my love of teaching, was working at Montessori. So these are just some examples of the problems that we taught our students. This is like more of the more abstract mathematics that the older grade level is expected to know to compete in all the math competitions from, like, I'd say like grade 5 and 6. This is the material that
this is how we got started, right? This is the origin of the company. We teach students how to do these really complicated math problems, but from a point of view of simplicity, right? We want to let them explain concepts to them in a very simple, concrete, digestible way. And that's how Math Trek got started. It's trying to look at something abstract and try to tease out the abstraction to make it more concrete for students so that they could compete better in math competitions. But of course, all math in general.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to continue. So how did we decide on the curriculum? So we came up with a pretty unique curriculum. We know that there's all of these different choices. There's Saxon, there's Right Start, Math Mammoth. All of these you can see are other curriculums that are already out there. They already exist. So we picked ours because when we taught, we've been teaching GR-EDU for the last 2 months now, and we can say the students are very intelligent and they need to be challenged. So we wanted to come up with a way to give them material and mathematical knowledge that they would benefit from, that's very based on fundamentals, and that will help them throughout their entire life. So yeah, so this particular, we're using Singapore math, the Dimension math, and that's going to be the core of what we're teaching our students, because we think that Singapore math is a very ideal systematic way, like method of teaching the students, and Dimension math is the newest it's the newest curriculum that they've come up with, which is really good for, it's catered more towards like the American standard. So we feel like this is exactly a good fit. After the 2 months, we have been kind of analyzing and trying out different methods of teaching the students at GR-EDU. And we decided that this would probably be extremely beneficial, highly beneficial. So that's why we decided on this particular curriculum. But so one of the things we like is that they have this, this is pretty much their method. So first is think, second is learn, and third is do. So there's actually a really nice quote by Confucius that Philip pulled up. So it's actually very interesting because we think that maybe this is where Singapore Math came up with their think, learn, do. So by 3 methods, we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. So the third part would be the doing part. Probably the kids' probably least favorite part is the actual doing the actual material. Pretty funny. So yeah, like I said, this math course, it's designed for American students. So Singapore Math, as the name says, it's from Singapore. They're used internationally and they have different curriculums, but we really like Dimension Math. After looking at how they categorize everything, it's very well designed. So because students that are in America, most of them have to already learn Common Core. So Singapore Math and Dimension Math is able to it's able to go beyond what Common Core covers, and it does it in a very foundational, systematic way. So yeah, so this is one of the reasons: systematic, foundational, and it's better than Core. So if we taught Common Core to all of your students, chances are it would be they already know a lot of it. In fact, some of the kindergartners I was already working with, they already know how to add, and they're already able to start at a higher level. So we think that Common Core won't be entirely valuable to teach your students because they're already going to learn it in school. So the beast. So one of the so we have been working, we used to do a lot of competitions through a company called Art of Problem Solving. And Art of Problem Solving has this book called, they're associated with Beast Academy. So we like Beast Academy, and what we plan on doing is we want to integrate parts of Beast Academy into the curriculum where Dimension Math is aspects of Beast Academy that match aspects of dimensional math. So because we think that Beast Academy goes into a lot of great detail and goes a little bit more beyond than Dimensions does. And this is going to be done at usually at the end of a topic or at the end of the class maybe, but these are more challenging, and they're a good way to test your knowledge of any aspect of math. They make you critically think about the problem and how to actually apply mathematical any methods to actual problems, which I think is actually missing from Common Core and missing in school. A lot of students, when they go to math in public education, it doesn't really give them a lot of the critical thinking, which I think it's almost a crime because these kids, they can do it. They should be doing it now. There's no, they should be starting in kindergarten thinking about what's the point of even learning math? And so in a lot of public education, I think me and Philip, we both felt that it was a lot of repetition, and kids end up growing up, and a lot of them end up resenting math. So one of the cool things about Beast Academy is it has a very unique art style, and a lot of problems are very cool. So we're using it to supplement our core, which is Dimension Math. So we also use Math Kangaroo. So Math Kangaroo is the most prestigious math competition for grades 1 through 6. In fact, it's one of the few competitions a first grader can actually compete in, and they've been around for since the early 90s, I want to say, and they have, now it's a very popular and growing competition. Every year, they're getting more and more contestants. So we like to use this as a way to supplement the material that we already have. So it's a good way for students to, once again, to test what they're learning in the math and to apply it in these unique problems. So these problems are they're different because some of them are like puzzles, and that's where the logic comes in, the critical thinking that like that void that's left by the education standards of today. So we want to try to fill it after we lay in all the foundational material of Dimension Math. So yep, help build confidence and critical thinking. So one of the things I love the most about Math Kangaroo, it's not even just the critical thinking by itself, it's the confidence. A lot of students that are really young that think that they might not be the best math student. They might have all these doubts, but then they try to do some of these problems and they find them and they get it correct, and you could just see them light up. You could see them starting to like math, and you could see them build a confidence as a mathematician. And I think it's that's the best thing about Math Kangaroo. Not just the problems, but that little bit of I can do it. That's why we wanted to include Math Kangaroo in our material. It's going to be supplementary, and we're going to make sure that the problems that we use from the Math Kangaroo are once again applied to the concepts that we're already teaching through Dimension Math. So we have a couple, two samples for you. We have the kindergarten one, which I'm going to go over, and then we have grade 4, which Philip will go over. So I'm going to open this up, and this is the kindergarten PowerPoint. Okay, actually, I think I already have it open. So here, let me start from the beginning. Okay, so this is an example of what the first week of class is going to look like for the kindergartners. Okay, so we have the quote, which I'm going to share with the students. And this is a math book that we are going to be using. It's the 1A. It's Dimensions 1A. And even though it says 1A and it's intended for grade 1, this is still going to cover a lot of the fundamentals, which they will be able to do. In fact, if you want, we could take a look inside. It's in the beginning, it's counting numbers. In fact, we're going to go over a little bit about the first chapter in this PowerPoint. So we have the think portion, and here we're just getting the kids to count. Very foundational, very basic. This is week 1 kindergarten. So we need to make sure all the kids can count. So here I would actually count with the students, and let's keep going. See, there's 4 straws and there's 20. So this is a good way to get the kids to expand their knowledge of the numbers. Yeah, a lot of kindergartners have trouble counting numbers that go up to, I'd say beyond like 50, like once you're in the hundreds, but we wanted to start them here and get them used to these numbers. So this part right here is the think. We're just thinking about counting. And now we're approaching the learn section of Dimension Math. So here, I would actually have my students write this down. They need to know the difference between even numbers and odd numbers. Okay, so even numbers are numbers that can be split into 2 groups evenly, such as 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And odd numbers cannot be split into groups evenly, such as 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So those are just some examples. And now we're going to apply this knowledge. We're going to apply immediately. The amount of lollipops we have are they even or are they odd? So here, all of the kids will try to solve this. We'll try to figure out, is it even or odd? And as you guys can see, it's even. And here, now we have to figure out, is it even and odd once again? What is it? Well, as you can see, it is odd. So now this part is going to really test their knowledge of if they can tell the difference between even numbers and odd numbers. They're going to be given these questions and they're going to be given these numbers. So they have to figure out, what are the even numbers in the sequence? What are the odd numbers in the sequence? What is the smallest number in the sequence? And what is the largest? So I purposefully made it that it's out of order. So the kids have to realize the relationship between each number to each other. So let's see, what are the even numbers? 2 and 4. What are the odd numbers? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. What is the smallest number? 1. What is the largest number? 11. So now we're going to learn a little bit more. So here, this part of Dimension Math that I like, I want the kids to realize what a stack of 10 could look like, because there's going to be a lot of problems where they use an object to symbolize 10. All right. So they need to know that this is 11, that this is 12, because this is 10, and then 11, and then finally 12. So we would count all of these. We would do 10, 11, 12, 13, and we would count all of these. And here, as you can see, we have 10 and 10. We want to get them used to counting in tens. So on the surface, it looks like we're just trying to get them to learn how to count, which we are. But I think one of the hidden functions of this topic specifically is getting them to count in tens, which is going to be very useful, and they're going to need to know how to do this. So clear all that. So let's continue. Do. Okay. Now here we're introducing them to the concept of addition simply by counting. Okay. Here we have 10. Oops, sorry, give me 1 second. We have 10 and we have 5. So what I would do is I would try to identify which one is the 10 and which one is the 5. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is going to be our 10. And now we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's our 5. And in the beginning, they're just going to count straight to 15. In kindergarten, they're most likely not going to know off the bat that 10 plus 5 makes 15. They might not know this immediately. So just to get everyone on the same footing, they would probably just count, and we would go all the way to 15. And then here we would draw the connection that this is 10 plus 5. This is the actual application of addition, where you're adding actual objects. So here the kids would realize that this is what 10 plus 5 looks like. This is one way to illustrate that point. So it'll be 15. So now let's continue. Yep, there you go. Okay, now how many lollipops are there? We would do the exact same thing. We would count all of them, and then we would draw the connection that we are adding here. That this is what 10 plus 3 looks like, because we're adding the 10 lollipops and the 3 lollipops. How many cherries are there? So this is we're just trying to get them used to this. And once they're able to do this extremely important and basic information, then we can kind of go into a little bit more of the complicated aspects of math, but we need to start at the basics. Okay, so here we review the concepts. I would ask my students, what are even numbers? And I would call on one of them to tell me what are even numbers. And they should have written it down like prior to me asking them, because here we're going to review what we just did. What are even numbers? So they would tell me exactly what we wrote down previously. What are odd numbers? So one of the cool things about this particular problem is this is actually from a math competition. This is from Math Kangaroo. So even though they're in kindergarten, and some of you might be thinking, you're introducing a math competition problem to kindergartner. Well, one of the cool things about the problems that we will introduce is they will be directly related to what we already did in class. So this is just going to build on counting. And now it's going to be, and also add in some critical thinking, which kindergarten is a great time to get started. And it's not even, this problem is not particularly that difficult, but kindergartner is now going to have to count a flower with 5 petals that has a stem with 3 leaves. So this here is a very unique problem where they're going to be using the counting that they just learned, and now they're going to solve a math competition problem that's given as a math competition. So this is one example. This is another example. How many dots do all ladybirds have together? So this is another example. This is also from Math Kangaroo. And here the kids are going to be solving a math competition type problem. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so yeah, I think that's the end for this one. All right, let me go back to this. All right, Philip, do you want to share or do you want me to share?
I can share.
Okay.
So now, again, every these slides, these demo slides are all in this slide, and you have the link to this. Um, let's see here.
There it goes.
So again, at the very beginning, we go over this quote from Confucius. This is very relevant. Well, we're covering Singapore math. We would go over homework. One of the important things is that every session, we would go over homework, reviewing some of the more difficult problems contained in the homework, so that your student understand what, if they did the problems right or wrong. And then every single day, every single slides, we have one single topic or at most two topics, so that there is a focus. So, we will go over one concept, one topic in depth, at most two, and then we would do a lot of problems, explain the concept thoroughly. Definition of the concept. We have a little video. Typically, the video is not too long. At most, it's 5 minutes. So again, Singapore Math have three components. The first component is think, thinking about the concept that you're trying to understand. In this case, it's factor. We'll ask the students, hey, these are the squares. How do you combine them in space that would form a rectangle? And what are the dimensions of that rectangle? So I think initially when you're thinking about something, it has to be a bit abstract. And mathematics is abstract if you think about it at a higher level. So, at this, I think it's important to start getting the student accustomed to mathematics as being an abstract art. Learn. Now let's try some possibilities. Now, if you have these these squares, you combine them. One possibility is to combine them in this way, right? You have one row, 12 columns, right? Another way is 2 rows, 6 columns. Third possibility is 3 rows and 4 columns. We would explain that there are 3 different rectangles, unique rectangles. We explain that these are the factors of 12. 12 is a multiple of all of these factors. One important thing is that in addition to Singapore Math, we think that teaching the students the algebraic approach is also very important, because algebra is what they're gonna meet as they graduate beyond their grade level. So we will start getting them accustomed to symbolic thinking, such as use of x and y's. So we can, represent the problem as 12 equals to xy, where xy are whole numbers. And then we show them that, hey, you know what, you can look at the same problem, but from a completely symbolic algebraic way. Again, this is to show them how to find factors for a number n. Let's say if you have a number n, all right, how do you find all the factors of n? Well, one possibility is, let's suppose that a and b are variables. When a and b times together, it has to be equal to n. And all the factors of n, or the potential values of a and b. It's a little bit abstract, so we will go over an example of that. Let's do an example of 24. Let n be 24. So a and b would be the variable. A times b is going to be 24. here are some examples of combinations of two numbers multiplied together to get 24. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 4 times 6, etc. So therefore, A and B can be 1, 2, 3, 24, 12, 8. So these are examples of A and B. So therefore 24, since the factors of 24 are all possible values of A and B, then that means the factors of 24 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Do. Now, having explained the method of how to do some of these problems and the algebraic method and how to find factors for a specific number, we let the student try to do the problems themselves in class. Okay, what are the factors of 8? And we give them, we have this little slide where we give them like at most 2 minutes. But turns out that, for a lot of GR-EDU students, they're able to do the problem much faster, maybe less than a minute. So we probably have to change that to 1 minute. So this is an example of, we give them some time and to let them do it, and then we give them the answer. And we try, if there are some unknowns, some students that don't understand, we try to explain it and try to do the problem, try to work out some of the details of how to solve the problem. But we will try to maximize the times that they are able to do it. Because again, as Confucius say, the bitterest, the hardest is really doing the problem. And we want to give them ample time to try to do these problems in class. Yeah, this is a nice comment by a cartoon. Another question, find the factors of 18. Answers. These are the factors of 18, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, another question. We want to emphasize these comments. Is 14 divisible by 7, by 3? Is 14 divided by 3? We'll have a remainder. What does that mean? What does that mean? So, I mean, these little comments are really helpful in that it kind of help them think of outside the box, from what they're doing. Because sometimes doing computation is one thing, but being able to meta think about what you're doing and how everything works together, I think is very important when it comes to getting better at math. Okay, so give them the answer. Again, this is an example of exercise. Which of the following number has 6 as a factor? Obviously, one factor of 6 is 6. Another possibility is 36. Another possibility is 54. Another possibility is 60. Find the factors of 75. Again, give them some time to do it. Give them the answer. 75 is an odd number, so I don't need to have to check any even numbers. It's good to ask them these kind of, ask them to think about what these comments really mean and have them try to explain it to us, the teacher, what they think it means. Find the factors of 75. The factors of 75 are 1, 3. What is it? Fill in the blanks. You have 1 minute. Give them the answer. Find the missing factors. You have 1 minute. Fill in the answer. So the beast mode is material drawn directly from Beast Academy. These questions, because they are from Beast Academy, is a little bit more tougher. It goes a little bit more in depth. So for example, list all the factors of 42 that are also multiple of 3. So we will have them try to do it. And second question, list all the factors of 56 that are also multiple of 7. Okay. So, and then after all this, this is pretty much to the very end. So we want to do some review, right? So we ask them basic questions. What is a factor? Reiterate the concept that they learned today in class. Factors are numbers we can multiply together to get another number. How can we find factors of a number? And again, we reiterate as a general principle, the general principle of how to do something. Find the factors you want to find, say n. Find all the values of a and b such that a times b is equals to n. All those potential values of a and b are the factors of n. And that is all. I think that's okay. So Josh, can you take over?
Yeah, I got it. So let's see, we're back. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay, so this is a little background about our teachers. We have Mr. Daniel, who will be teaching grade 3. He has been teaching for quite some time, a lot of different subjects. He's been teaching for 25 years, and he has a bachelor's of economics from Pomona. He's some of your kids might already be taught by him currently, or was taught by him in the last 2 months. So yeah, he teaches a lot of these classes. This is me. I have early childhood units for Montessori, and I spent 3 years actually teaching at Montessori. So I also have a bachelor's in communications from San Jose State. And yeah, like I said, taught chess to Montessori students. So I also did teach chess to Montessori students as well, and all throughout the Bay Area. So this is Mr. Wynn. He's actually a financial advisor for Turnkey Financial Solution. If you guys need financial advice, this is your man. His name is Mr. Wynn. So he's a very experienced teacher, and he's taught students from kindergarten all the way to high school, and he does SAT prep, and he pretty much, he can teach any subject to any grade level. So he has a Bachelor of Physics with honors from Pomona, and Master's in Environmental Engineering for Berkeley. Okay, this is Miss Emma. She's been doing kindergarten and grade 4. So she has taught competitive math to all of our kindergarteners and 6th graders. And one of her interesting things about her background is, in addition to being like an AP scholar in her high school, she was also in the marching band, where she was like the leader for the brass section, where she taught over 100 students musical exercises. So if you guys also have students, or if your kids are also pursuing a brass instrument, she also does lessons online for that as well. She's currently attending McGill University for urban studies. So this is Miss Hollenbeck. She has actually worked in various recreational centers. There's one in particular that she worked at Beresford and that's like across the bridge, that's in San Mateo. And she taught for us for 2 years, where she taught kindergartners all the way to 5th graders. And she taught them a lot of math competition problems, a lot of like fundamental problems, as well as actually also chess. She also taught chess for us. So she likes making sure that the students understand the fundamentals and how to apply them. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to do is when your students sign up, we want to assess your child and make sure that they are in a good spot that we put them in. So we actually have instructions that are going to be given to you to follow. So you have all of these assessments, which is going to be found in this folder, and you're going to, whatever grade level your child is in starting in school, they will take the diagnostic for that particular grade level, and they will have 60 minutes to take the whole assessment. And we think that if the student scores 90% on one diagnostic that they're going to, maybe it's acceptable for them to take the next grade levels to see if they could probably place into that one. But if the grade level is too hard and they get 60%, then if they get 60%, that's fine. But if they get less than 60%, then maybe they should take the G3, like the lower level assessment, and maybe they should be in the lower level math class in order to focus on the fundamentals. So we have a Google form for you guys to fill out where you would submit your score and pretty much tell us your student's name, grade, and yeah, which assessment you took. So you would give us your score and we would do all the placement for you. So you just write in what your student got on the test, what number they got correct, and we will tell you where they place. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, 60 minutes. Okay, so we do have a couple other programs. Some of your children might already be in them. We have our chess program, which is Castle Chess is our other company. So this is a quote that we like. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. One of the things that we like to teach students is like how to kind of lower down some of the crazy like there's so many possibilities that could happen in chess. So we want to kind of make like realistic goals and make solid, decent, like good moves with logic and planning. So this is one of a very popular class of ours where we like to teach the students chess class. We have a beginner program and we have an intermediate program. And on Monday, let me go back. On Monday, this upcoming Monday, we will be assessing your child at 10 a.m. So that link will be sent out. But at 10 a.m., we will be assessing to see where your child should get placed if you want to sign them up for the chess class. So we have the beginner class. And there's two beginner classes. There's the one for the students that just do not know anything at all. And we just teach the students how the pieces move and extremely basic information. And then we have our second tier where that's for students who they know how the pieces move, but they might not quite understand some of the goals that you're trying to accomplish. They might not know some checkmate. They might not know a lot of checkmating. They might not know a lot of tactics. So we do have a beginner class where we want to give students the ability to learn, but it's not going to be extremely complicated. Okay. So that brings me to the last class that we will have, and that is the intermediate class. Okay. The intermediate / advanced, this class is going to be focused heavily on tactics, and it's going to assume your child already knows a lot about a lot of aspects of chess your child should already know. And the intermediate class is more geared towards competition. So this is not for a student that just learned how to play. Yes?
I think that the value of chess is that oftentimes when we are solving chess puzzles, we are thinking about 3 or 4 moves ahead. And that's a really powerful skill, a powerful way of thinking about just any issue. So chess is a really good enrichment. I mean, because it just really are good in terms of just helping, giving students confidence and helping the students, teaching the students how to think about something. Like, for example, like how do you get a knife from point A to point B, and what are the paths in order to get to that? And the ability to think backwards from your goal is very powerful in chess.
Yes. So yeah, one of the things that the intermediate classes that going to have is there's actually what Philip just said, working backwards. It's actually called retrograde analysis. It's when you have a position, and in order to even reach that position, you need to kind of imagine that the position's already there, and you need to work backwards to figure out how to get there. So the intermediate class, there will be a lot of focus on that because we will go over some famous games. And we're going to see, like, we can actually see the chess player's mind when they make certain moves. And it's highly beneficial for students that want to compete. So, yes. So Alfonso is going to be the one coaching this class. So he has been teaching. He's been teaching for us for the last 5 years. So, sorry, he's been teaching chess for the last 5 years. So he has been teaching for different ages. And he has also moderated many chess tournaments. So if you have any questions about like tournaments, what's it like, he has moderated many of them. So he can tell you, because playing at a tournament is not like playing on your phone or playing on ChessKids. If you're going to like an actual tournament, there's a lot of rules and there's a lot of, it's almost like a different game when you're playing at a tournament. So yeah, he's currently pursuing bachelor's degree in psychology at Cal State East Bay. So we also, so this brings me to our next class. We also have a Python class. Ooh. So Python is a very, very important programming language. It's used a lot in artificial AI. It has a lot of applications, and it's we feel that a lot of the students could definitely learn Python starting from like about grade 5, maybe even grade 4 if they actually put the time and effort in. But Python is very, very useful language, and one of the important things about learning Python is when you learn one of the core languages, it's easy to learn the other languages because they essentially do the same thing. I mean, so a lot of them vary from each other, but they have just different words, different commands. So when you learn one programming language, it's very easy for them to like learn another one. So if today in 6th grade, if they're learning Python, maybe by the time they're out of high school, they want to pick a different language. They already have the fundamental background of how to program. And that's and Python isn't going anywhere. This is good. This is considered one of the languages of the future because of all of its applications today. Philip, do you have anything you want to add
So
to Python?
it's important to know that like Python is a programming language of choice for a lot of universities, particularly freshman programming classes because of its simplicity. So there are a lot of other programming languages that are really much more cumbersome, a lot of very complicated. But Python is almost like English. The way you talk is the way you program almost. And also, we have a very unique angle to Python. And can we move to the next slide?
Sure.
So our approach to Python is project-based learning. Okay, studies have shown that project-based learning is the best form of learning. Having students being together and trying to figure out how to make things and build things. That's the whole idea of a hackathon. If you think about this valley, there's a lot of hackathon happening, but it really is the best way to learn any programming language, to build projects. And our projects are very unique. We have a lot of our projects are completely in-house. We kind of thought about it uniquely. What kind of unique little mini projects that we can do. Our projects is selected so that it's not really complicated, so that it's smaller enough that you could understand the whole project and the concepts that are used to build it, so that it really helps enforce the students' learning by doing these kind of mini projects. Can we move on to the next slide?
Yes, we sure can. Yeah, so this Philip said.
Yeah, so the best form of learning. Yeah. So
yeah.
Again, okay, so the slide here is linked so that again you can click on the link.
I could show them real quick a little bit.
Sure.
So this is what we have for the curriculum. So like I said, like Philip said, this is already linked. Arya will be teaching this class. She's a very, very good programming teacher. So these are, as you can see, we have the whole week, like all the material planned out for the entire session. And there's all these projects that we want the students to do. So one of the cool things about this program is even when they're done after week 17 is they will be able to do this. They should be able to replicate how to do these projects, and they will have a solid understanding.
So at the end of the 17 week, there's starting at the week 15, there's a capstone project where they have to invent their own project to do. One thing is good to notice is that a lot of the weeks we just cover one topic, one package. For example, week 10, we only cover logical operators. So one single concept per week, so that we don't want to overwhelm the student. We want, again, focus them on the project. Again, the programming class is not just programming. There's a lot of creativity involved too, right? Being able to come up with your own project, coming up with how to improve your project. So it's in addition to programming, there's also a lot of game development involved as well. So that, yeah. I mean, a lot of companies in the Bay Area started off with founders building games. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to it. So yeah, you guys will all have access to that. So Arya is the one teaching. So she when she went to high school, she she figured out she loved programming and AP computer science. So she's actually been teaching JavaScript and Python. She actually used to work for Coder School, which you guys might have driven by, like all throughout because Coder School is littered in most cities throughout the Bay Area. So she used to be an instructor for Coder School where she taught a lot of JavaScript and Python, and she loves project-based learning. This is, I think, how she learned herself, and she's currently attending University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign for electrical engineering, and yeah, she is a very solid programming teacher. So she's also going to be teaching the lower grade. She's also going to be teaching Scratch. Now, some of you guys might not know what Scratch is. I'll open up the Scratch program just for a little bit. So Scratch is another programming language, you could call it, and it's actually for students that are very young, for grades like grades 1 through. This is for grades 5 and under, we'll say, but here this is going to also be project-based learning. And these are going to be students that are very young, that have never programmed before. And this is going to kind of get them in the mindset of a programmer. They're going to learn how to program using a lot of these simple functions. Yeah, go ahead.
So with Scratch, it's a little bit different from Python, because Python, you're actually coding. Scratch is a visual programming language. And there is an interface where you drag icons from one panel to another, and that's how you program. Like do pictures, do diagrams, and it's a very unique way of programming. It teaches students the programming concepts without having them do the programming. Because sometimes doing the programming, you have to type each word precisely correctly, and that could be a little bit challenging for younger students. But having them drag and drop,
yeah, they could all do that.
Pictures to another panel is much simpler. So yeah, again, a completely project-based approach. We go all in on project-based because we think that this is where I think most educators think it is where
most beneficial.
Yeah, the most beneficial for students.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, Arya is teaching that, and I already went over her background. So the office hours that we're doing currently is going to be Thursday 6 to 7. Right now, this might change, but this is what we're going to go with for now, the time being. So when we start the session, if you have any questions, you guys can come in, or your child most likely will pop in and they can ask us questions. We picked this time because it doesn't coincide with any other class, and it's right after the final class. It doesn't really coincide with too many classes.
So the office hour is for students to come to us and ask any questions about the material that is covered in the class, but it's also a way for us to understand what the parents are thinking. And we want your inputs because we think that the best way to offer a great experience for the children is getting as much input from the parents as possible. That's how we can actually improve the class together. Inputs from others, inputs from the parents, and from the students.
Yeah. So that's Thursday 6 to 7. So yeah, we're gonna email you guys the assessments. In fact, you guys, when you guys have access to this PowerPoint, it's already in here. It's embedded in the PowerPoint itself. So yes, so pretty much the assessment grade, it's all already on there. So you know what grade to give, and you just tell us what you got on Google Form, and we will pretty much do the placement for you. So if I don't see you, I'll play this short little video.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.
Buddy.
Morning.
Okay.
All right. I think that's.
Is there any questions?
We're gonna open it up for the Q&A now.
Also, if you guys, do you, Josh, can you maybe share the link with the chat or something?
Oh, for the assessments?
No, not, but the
The
slides.
PowerPoint? Oh yeah, sure, I can do
If
that.
you guys want that,
Yeah.
the copy of that. Do you guys have any questions related to the presentation?
This is we're gonna open up the floor for any
You can raise hand. You can use the raise hand feature. The raise hand feature is if you click on the participant. Okay, so Josh has posted the link, the slide, the
link to the
PowerPoint
slides.
in the chat. If you have any questions, please raise your hand.
Oh, you guys could, yeah, you guys can just unmute. No, that's
Or you can, if you don't know how to raise your hand, just you know, shout out. That's fine.
Yeah, I do have a question.
go ahead.
What's your
Easy.
question?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so we are the students. I mean, my kids are summer students, and we are returning students. And you showed a syllabus, I think, for the chess class as well as Python. Is there a syllabus for the math class?
Oh yes. Oh, actually,
Yeah,
yes. We
we
do
do.
have we have a curriculum for each one. Is there a particular one you want to look at?
Yeah, so I do have a kid who's going to the 5th grade.
Grade
And
5.
I think, Philip, you showed earlier was that the example that you gave on the factors, was that for the 4th grade?
That's the fourth grader. Yeah,
Okay.
so we do have a curriculum, actually a complete curriculum for grade
Grade 5. For yeah.
to 5. Maybe we can send that. We can put that in.
Yeah, I could put in the chat.
You can put, link that in email. Yeah, we gotta send them an assessment, right? Maybe.
Parents, yeah, I have shared a PDF doc in GRED WeChat group. So there will have all the links of curriculums, all the subjects, all the programs, course description, and curriculum.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think
I could please add me after the meeting through the WeChat. I could send to you that.
Yeah, we have them all already readily available, so you can see exactly what we're covering. We already input here. I'm going to share real quick so you can take a quick look, but you already have access to this, so I just want to give you like a brief overview maybe so you can see.
Maybe
Yeah, Josh, would you please show the parents? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the grade 5 one. And we put everything in here, the workbook, what we're going to cover. We also put in the supplementary material in here as well. So this is going to cover everything that they are going to do in grade 5. And this is all based off of Dimension Math.
So one thing that might scare the parents is that, okay, the math competition or the Beast Academy material, they are supplementary. The core is that we need to focus on, we as a company, what we do is we focus on the fundamentals, what the kids need to learn first. And then if we don't have time, we're just not gonna cover Math Kangaroo. But if we do have time, we're gonna cover Math Kangaroo, we're gonna cover Beast Academy material. But you know, our priority is dimensional math, covering the basics, the core concepts.
Yeah. So one thing that we also do is every 3 chapters, we do a review of the previous chapter along with one assessment. So every 3, like I said, every 3 chapters, there's a review of the previous 3 chapters usually. So this is a good way to make sure that the students are able to do the problems and they're able to understand them. Like we can see if they're understanding the material. And yeah, do you have any more questions about the curriculum, or is there any other questions about our program that you guys have? Oh, does that answer all your questions, BZ?
Yeah, I think it does. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I think we'll take another look at the syllabus after this meeting. But I guess it is very good to hear that you're taking I think the Singapore math as the fundamental basics with the Beast Academy and what's the other one?
Math Kangaroo. Yeah.
right? So it's very enrichful, I think, in terms of the contents. And I think, yeah, comparing to the summer classes, now going to the fall semester, math will be provided, I think, 3 times a week for lower grades and 2 times a week for older grades.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
but the syllabus I think is on a weekly basis.
Yes.
Yes.
So we did plan accordingly, because I made sure that the subjects for the lower grades, like that the 3 weeks would be sufficient. Sorry, the 3 days in the class, because for the lower grade they need more work on the fundamentals, like because there's really no substitution for time for learning a lot of like that material. So that's why we put through that. We want that additional class, is because they will benefit from it a lot. And we want it like, and you know, now it's like a time where they're not going to go to physical school location, and it's like, you know, it's kind of like we need to make sure that they're in a good place. Like just because of the pandemic, like that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be where they're supposed to be for math. Like, but you know, like we want to make sure that all of our kids, no matter what grade level, gets the appropriate math that they need. Do you have any other questions about the days, or are you...
Hi, Josh. Would you please share the textbook that parents need to buy and where they could get, you know, purchase the book, the book that students are going to use?
Okay, yeah, so hold on, give me 1 second. I'll put, so here, yeah, we can link it. So here, this is just an example. So I'm gonna share my screen, and this, so here, you can get it directly from Dimension Math. So this is the workbook. So this workbook is going to follow along with the textbook that we have. And all the chapters are like directly related to the material that we're doing. So in our curriculum, let me go back here. We have all the workbooks already listed out to make sure that so this is going to be like homework. It's going to be like when we cover one particular chapter, they're going to be doing the problems related to that chapter in the workbook. Okay, so yeah, it's a good way to supplement what they're doing in class and a good way to apply what they're learning by doing the actual problems. So in addition to the workbook, we might have some sheets that we share in the Google Drive. Like some, you know, like for my kids, particularly, like I used to give like bonus problems, and like so there might be some supplementary material that we share online, but for the most part, this is going to be a required workbook. So you can get it from singaporemathshop.com, and we already have the workbook listed in each curriculum. So right here for grade 5, boom, it's right here. So whatever whatever grade your child is in, if you look through their curriculum, the workbook link will be there. That will go directly to where you can purchase it. So yeah, so this is a very beneficial workbook, and yeah, we need to make sure that the students have this so that they can work out of it.
Okay, just a friendly reminder. There's so many you know, books or even regarding the Dimension Math. So they have teacher's book and textbook and textbook, and what students, yeah, they have all kinds of the books, and what the student really needs to purchase is just the workbook, right?
Yeah. So they do sometimes sell them in bundles, workbook and textbook. You could buy it if you want, but you don't need to, because we're going to be providing all of the teaching material.
Yeah.
But like they do sell them in bundles, but this is what we want all the kids to have, is this. If it doesn't say workbook, you need to buy the ones that say workbook on it, not any of the other ones.
Yeah, so Singapore Math is our core. So these are the workbook that the kids are going to mostly focus doing homework on. Yeah, the dimensional math workbook. The supplementary items like
Math Kangaroo,
Academy, Math Kangaroo, those we would be providing a Google Drive link where you have access to, and if there are supplementary materials, we'll put those supplementary materials in the Google Drive so that you guys can see it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's actually some pretty cool stuff that I know that Beast Academy does, where they have games, specifically games. So we would share, we would put those pages in so you guys can print out some of the material and then like cut out these cards. They have a bunch of stuff. So there's going to be stuff that we will put in, and we did put in the curriculum like when we integrate Beast Academy. So sometimes we might not be able to get to it, and if that happens, we will share with you so your kids can still try to do the problems or the activities. So one of the cool things about Beast Academy is that for some of the specific topics, they actually they invented a game so that will help teach the topic. With it's like something that the kids can play, and some of them require more than one person, so it's something you guys could do at home. Yeah.
So one thing I would love to talk about, if you guys is assessment, is the power of games. Okay, so we do want during the assessment. I think Josh said every 3 weeks, right? We have an assessment.
Yeah, that's correct.
At that time, during our assessment, we want to make it a game. We have something called a Jeopardy. Right, and that's really always a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, actually.
These maybe we can pull.
I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on. Yeah. It's very, very fun. I wanted to try it out. We're gonna try it out. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Okay. So yeah, this is one of the things that we want to do, and this would be a fun way to review. Let's see. Sorry, give me a second. Let me share. Okay.
One aspect of learning is, I think, is that we try to embed a lot of fun elements in our slides, so that it's just we're not just gonna overload the student with information, because we have to make it digestible. For example.
Here, let me show you guys real quick. So this is just this isn't final, but we want to do it for the grade levels, so where we can do a review using this type of format, where each student can try to pick one and try to accumulate points, based off of the correct answers. So this is just an example. Then we have the Jeopardy song. Yeah, so I think this would be a fun way to definitely get the kids to review, as opposed to just a worksheet or a couple slides. So yeah, this is one thing that we wanted to show you guys. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Do you guys have any other questions about any of or Phil, do you have anything more you want to add?
Again, I emphasize that this is a process where I think that any suggestions on how to improve the experience is always welcome. Office hour is the place to do that. Come to us, tell us what you think and what we can do, how we can make things better.
How we can help you.
Yeah. Is there any questions?
If I may add, I think the game element of the class, I think, is especially going to be helpful, I think, for lower grades.
Yes.
Yeah. So with my kid going through the summer camp, he did struggle a little bit with the sort of the overload of the class sheets and the worksheets, and like the things you mentioned about the Jeopardy and probably integration of the Kahoot would definitely rise the interest for the kids. Again, for the lower grades. But I think the other side of the game for online classes, I don't know if you guys have thought about, is there will be sort of a virtual competition, right? And there will be kids who would be doing good, whereas others would not. So as the teacher, how do you handle this type of balancing, let's say, among all the kids? Any thoughts around that you can share?
Okay, so you're saying if there are some students. So one of the things that I've actually done is when I was doing the participation, I actually made sure that each kid would try to explain the problem to me. So we're constantly I always make my kids annotate on my board, and I try to pick the ones that are the shy ones. And one of the things that I'm getting our teachers to do is doing the exact same thing, because a lot of students that raise their hand, that just shout out the answer, they know the answer, and they're pretty confident that they know the answer. And then you have the students that are very shy and they aren't very confident at all. So we try to include everybody in the problem solving part of the class. And if a student is sorry, I lost my train of thought. So if a student is struggling, too much on a specific aspect of the math, then I would probably take note, and I would probably email that parent, and I would give some supplementary material to help that student go through whatever it is that they can or cannot do. So I think I taught the first grade, and most of my students, I think they did pretty well on majority of the material. There was during multiplication, there was some hiccup, but ultimately I think most of my kids were able to do the material. And I know some students might struggle here and there, but I do encourage all of the students to ask us questions constantly. And that's why also one of the reasons we have the office hour at 6 to 7 on Thursday. And hopefully as time goes on, maybe we could offer some more. And if a student is actually struggling, then we would want them to hop into our office hour.
Yeah.
And we could just like I spent 30 minutes teaching like Mason. I had a student, Mason, who came in, and I taught him like division pretty much just because like he wanted to know it. But I think more students should definitely take advantage of our office hour, because we will sit with them and try to explain whatever it is that they cannot do in great detail to try to make sure that they understand it. Because I mean, aside from that, that's, you know, we want every kid to succeed, and we don't want any kid to get left behind. So definitely and since all of the curriculum is available, the kid could just come in and say like, I had trouble last week, or I had trouble, 2 days like on this week's material. We can just go back and we can review, we can solve it. And what I do is when I teach my students, I would then ask them to teach me back the problem that we just went over. And then I would spend the whole office hour just trying to have them explain to me until they finally understood it themselves. Yeah, sorry for the long answer.
So one thing I like about the online platform is that we do have these kind of the do part of the single part math, where we ask the students to try to do the problems. And what I like about the online experience is that they get to send the answer directly to the instructor. And it's really powerful, because let's say if you have a class of 7, 8 students, immediately who done that problem first, and did they have the right answer. And it often, I think, it's really good in identifying which student is struggling, and how can the teacher help that student. So this kind of pinpoint accuracy is not something that I think in a physical class, on-site class have, but the online class definitely have. The teacher simply have much more insight over the learning experience and understanding of the student and what they are capable of. Is there any questions?
Yeah, guys. If you have any questions about any of our programs, you guys feel free to ask. This is the time to do it.
Also, we will be at the office hour if you have any questions.
Yeah, if you remember something all of a sudden, then we will be. Yeah, we still have this week. We still have the old office hours that we gave you, and then when the class starts, we'll have this 6 to 7.
Perfect. So,
Xiaoping, do you have any questions for us?
Nope. So I would like to thank you all the parents. I know quite a few of them participated in GREDU's open house this morning, and also attending our math office, open house right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much for your time. We do appreciate you guys coming.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes. Also, thanks for signing up for our program if you were with us during the summer. We appreciate your support.
Thank you very much.